There's an old expression that says life is precious. And I've heard that expression for a number of years, and I tend to agree with it. But it's particularly precious when we understand that there are things that we can do to maintain and preserve life. Now, let me tell you something. I know we're not going to live forever, but we want to live as long as we can. And one of the factors that influence how long and how well we live is safety. We have to understand that things happen, situations happen, accident happens. So there needs to be conscientiousness as it relates to safety. And believe it or not, you know, even when you're walking or biking or driving, one needs to be safety conscious. And unfortunately, in Macon, we have we have had to create a pedestrian safety review board. Now, why y'all doing that, Habersham? Well, we are doing that because, unfortunately, there has been a problem with pedestrian safety. So we thought that it would not be wrong. But when I said we, I'm talking about Miss Rachel Umana, and Mr. Gregory Brown, both of whom are part of the pedestrian safety review board. And I'm gonna let them tell you why it was created and what their duties, roles, and responsibilities are. But I know it's a need for it because my nephew's dad, walking across Gray Highway, was hit and killed about 3 years ago. And then, too often, I go to social media, to a newspaper, to TV, and I hear about a person being killed, a living being, a human being, you know, being killed, needlessly, crossing the street or walking, in the dark or walking with black on or things of that nature. So there's a real need. I'll repeat that, Rachel. That sounds good to me. There is a real need for a pedestrian safety review board. And we need to be conscientious about it, in all capacities now. Not only if you're walking, but also if you're biking, you're jogging, and or if you're driving. So we have with us today two individuals from the Pedestrian Safety Review Board, and I'm going to introduce Mr. Gregory Brown, and we have Ms. Rachel Humana with us too. But Greg is going to talk a little bit about it, and he's going to let us know what Rachel's position is. And I know she's with Bike Walk Macon, and I promised
Right.
her a long time ago I was going to ride a bicycle, but I'm still promising. Okay,
I'm still
Greg.
waiting.
Okay, Greg.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Habersham, for allowing us to be on your platform today to talk about such an important issue throughout our community. I am Gregory L. Brown. I've been serving as chair of the Macon-Beard County Pedestrian Safety Review Board since about 2019, but I've been on the board since its inception in 2015. And Rachel, like you said, who was on the call with us today, she serves as the vice chair of the Pedestrian Safety Review Board. So you have here today with you the chair and the vice chair serving in those roles on the committee.
Okay, thank you very much. So you said it's been around since 2015. So if you will give us a little background on, who you are and what you do.
Right. So in 2015, Commissioner Elaine Lucas, she sponsored an ordinance to create the Pedestrian Safety Review Board because of various concerns raised throughout the community about pedestrian safety. So it became such a big concern throughout the community that Commissioners Lucas created, like I said, sponsor an ordinance to get this created. And the commission, the Pedestrian Safety Review Board, is charged by the commission with finding ways to make all of the county roads, streets, alleys, and roadways safe for pedestrians. The board is made up of a volunteer group of individuals. None of us are paid to serve on the board. So we are comprised of representatives from the governmental and non-governmental agencies, to include representatives from Planning and Zoning, which is myself. Rachel serves on the board as well, representing a non-governmental agency, Macon. And there are other governmental agencies such as the Sheriff Department, traffic engineering, county engineering, the AARP organization, specifically the Macon County Health Department as well, the Board of Education, the Middle Georgia Regional Commission, and a host of other groups. So that's who really makes up the Pedestrian Safety Review Board. And then we also had the use of a consultant as well. And then one of the other main piece of the membership is a regular citizen from the community, someone who's out there walking and biking throughout the community. We have a citizen who can bring us their perspective.
That is so outstanding. So, Rachel, if you would, I gave Greg the easy part, so I'm gonna no, just kidding. So let's be more specific.
Yes, sir.
About some of the areas that can be addressed as it relates to creating an environment, because sometimes we may not even think about the different factors and the different areas and the different avenues that are associated with pedestrian safety. So just talk a little bit about that. Rachel?
Sure. So one of the accomplishments of the Pedestrian Safety Review Board is one, they've done so many great educational campaigns to teach people as you're walking how to do it safely, or if you're driving, how to look out for pedestrians. But they've also looked really closely at where are these crashes happening so we can get some good data and then intentionally try to improve the street. So last year, the Pedestrian Safety Review Board published a study where they looked at the hotspots, where are the most crashes happening and where are they most fatal. And those are on our, a lot of them are on our state routes. So they're the streets that are designed for cars to go fast, where we have a lot of lanes and very few crosswalks. They're pretty spread apart. So Gray Highway was one of those, Eisenhower Parkway, Pionono was one of those. So it's probably no surprise our streets that are able to go the fastest and have the least pedestrian accommodations are where we see the most crashes and most fatalities.
Well, that's very, very important. And then, it's not only as it relates to being conscientious about walking and where you walk and things of that nature, but it's also about, the structure and because, like, well, I won't say the name of the place, but just coming out of there, bushes kind of, hide, the oncoming traffic. So I think you all not only just look at the live people walking, but other infrastructure type problems that may contribute to accidents happening. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. I think until you're a pedestrian walking on some of these streets, you don't realize some of the hurdles there are when you're a pedestrian. We were recently talking at a meeting. There was a great article that came out that was talking about on Gray Highway. The reporter noticed that people don't always cross at the crosswalk. They cross it behind a car, and they're like, why are they doing that? That doesn't seem safe. But that person who walks that intersection very frequently noticed people are always looking up at the stoplight to see when it's going to change, and they're not looking at the crosswalk. So we are encouraging people to follow the rules, but we're also just trying to make sure it's safer and slower, so that as you're following the rules, it's safe for drivers, safe for pedestrians, safe for everybody using the roads. But also, thinking about the pedestrians' perspective, not all of our roads are built that way just yet. We're working on it. So try to understand what are some of the limitations they're facing.
Andre, what are some of the, you want to add to that before I ask the question?
Yes, sir. And I was going to say, one of the ways that we work with other organizations in the community to help identify those areas where infrastructure improvements are needed, we do that through what we call walk audits. And so whenever we can collaborate with a community organization or if a citizen who has a concern about a specific area, if that citizen just would like to reach out to us, and we can work then to start putting together a walk audit of that area to see, what type of deficiencies are going on, what type of things we can observe that we can recommend for improvement. And the walk audit isn't a long stretch of road; it's only about a mile. So if we can identify a mile worth of roadway where some improvements can be made, we can certainly work with anyone throughout the community to make that happen.
Well, I think that's so very important. And sometimes as citizens, and I'm glad you said that because, what we need to realize in this community, there are so many resources. And I think sometimes people don't think about bringing problems up. They just, well, they need to cut that tree down, or they need a light here, they need a crosswalk here, they need speed bumps here. So I think what I'm hearing is that you all are encouraging public and citizenry input as it relates to the kind of things that can, activities or programs or initiatives that can make our streets safer because we don't, it's sad. And then, I mean, my nephew is still grieving, over his dad, but in the middle of the street,
Yes,
so there's an educational element as it relates to, being safe, being safe too. So what about the numbers, Greg? I know you don't know totally, but I tell you, I mean, you know, I just think it's sad. And the other thing that I want to mention quickly, sometimes I almost hit people.
yes, yeah.
It's dark and they got on all black, you know, and it's dark and it's not a side, they're not walking on the sidewalk, there's no sidewalk, so talk a little bit, one of you, about the personal conscientiousness, to be safe, because sooner or later, or then or now, we all are involved in, we look, we don't ride across the street, we walk across the street.
Right,
So
right.
there has to be a conscientiousness. So what kind of conscientiousness should one exercise in walking, and what should they look out for, etc.?
Okay, so in terms of, I asked the first question that you asked earlier about the numbers. One pedestrian fatality on our roadways is too many. So last year this time, and this information was shared at our last pedestrian safety board meeting. There were nine. There were 9 pedestrians this time last year.
You mean
Today,
in the middle of the year there were 9 people on our streets?
yes, sir.
Now were they
Yes.
killed?
Yes, sir. Those 9 numbers are related to pedestrians fatalities. There were a bigger number of pedestrian related crashes and accidents and other accidents, but in terms of pedestrians who were actually killed, there were 9 last year around this time. This year, 2024, at this time, our numbers are significantly down. We're at 3. There was a fatality last night on our roadway, so that has our number at 3 at this time. So although one fatality is too many, we still, as a committee, is still out there pushing the educational component that you talked about earlier, keeping the community aware of the various resources that are available in the community. And then in terms of some of the social consciousness thing you were talking about earlier, there's a number of pedestrian safety tips on various websites. One of which, wear bright colors. If you're walking at night, it's best to wear bright colors. Dark colors will not work. At least you have some light colors. You have more opportunity to be seen by a pedestrian, a motorist, especially if it's at dark, if it's at night. And then just try to, make it to a crosswalk. And if you can make it to that crosswalk, just make sure you use all type of pedestrian related tips to try to maneuver across the street safely.
Yeah, particularly look both ways, irrespective of what color the light is, because sometimes people run red lights. Well, let's talk a little bit about something that's very important, Rachel. I want to congratulate you, on all of the activities as it relates to Bike Walk Macon. And, there's a lot of biking. Of course, I know you're familiar with Sharice and how she has generated more excitement as it relates to biking, particularly for kids, so you got more kids on bikes, and you got some adults, some people with bike for exercise or what have you. So just kind of related to bike safety, as it relates to being on the streets. I don't know whether uh, you've had any accidents with bikers or not, but just talk a little bit about bike safety and the kind of things that have been done in the community to trying to make an allowance for people who ride bikes.
Yeah, it's very similar. If you're biking or you're a pedestrian, you're automatically going to be more vulnerable than someone who's driving a car or riding in a car. So it's really important to follow the rules of the road. So bicyclists are the same as a vehicle, so you need to be traveling in the direction of traffic on the street, stop at stoplights, stop at stop signs. Same as a pedestrian. Follow all the rules, be predictable, communicate what you're going to do. If I'm biking or if I'm walking on the road, I make sure I always make eye contact because you just
Yes.
don't know if that person is distracted. So just being a little cautious before you go, make sure people are paying attention. And then, yes, Sharice has been doing incredible things, getting kids on bikes. We've been working to do just more group rides to get people to build their confidence and knowledge of how to bike safely, how to walk safely. And as we have more people biking and walking, as we're building more infrastructure like bike lanes and sidewalks and crosswalks, we're going to see more people choosing that method of
Hmm.
transportation because it's much more affordable. It costs about $725 a month to own and operate and maintain your car. And biking and walking, if we can make that a connected and a safe opportunity for people, along with pairing transit, then that's so much more affordable and it's so much more accessible for people. So I think we're going to see more people doing it. So I think it's a combination of educating people as we do this. Let's do it safely, but let's also work with the county to make sure we have the right policies in place, that we're building things that are connected and safe and comfortable. So I think it's just a combination on both ends. We need to have our own responsibility of being safe, and then also, work with our leaders to make sure we're designing streets to accommodate everyone who's using them.
Well, that's kind of interesting because you have just established that there is a health benefit
Yes,
to
sir.
what you are
Absolutely.
doing,
Absolutely.
by being safe, but also by exercising and moving out there in the community. So that's very important.
Hmm.
Greg, how can one learn more? Because we all need to be conscientious. I think it's important. I didn't know about the safety tips,
Yes,
that
sir.
are available out there in whatever land they are available in. So how can one learn more? And also mention the flashing lights. I think kids think that they're just for toys,
Mhm.
but that's not what they're designed to ban.
Yes, sir.
And so talk a little bit about that if you will.
Yes, and so those are one of our safety tools that we have available to the public for free. And those flashing safety armbands, they are paid for by budget money that we get from the county. We get money from the county. Mayor Miller and the commission, they saw the importance of, what they saw the importance of funding the committee, not just in name, but okay, let's put some money behind it so that the committee could move forward in getting things like the flashing safety armbands, and also putting money towards startup funds to help leverage grants that the county could apply for. And so those flashing armbands, they are free to the entire community, and we have them available in our traffic engineering department. And then I also have some available at my office at planning and zoning. And we can be reached at PSRB at maconbip.us, or my email address is gbrown@mbpz.org. And if anyone would like to get some of those flashing armbands for your group, or if you utilize sidewalks to move around the community and you walk at night, walk any time of the day, we have some that we can offer to you all for free.
And you know what I just thought about? It would be nice if everybody had one, if you think about it. Because if you have to stop on the side of the road for some reason, a lot of people get killed, the car breaks down or something. I've known people to
Yes.
get hit changing a tire,
Yes,
so
sir.
it would be advantageous if you could get those. And if you would, my address is 590 D Walton Way. And I'm going to ask Greg, to bring some of those. I had some at one point. Sharice brought me some, I think.
Okay.
But we can have some at my office, which is 590 DT Walton Way, so you can stop by and pick some of them up also.
Okay.
So it's
Yes, sir.
very important. It's very important, that we are conscientious. I think this is a very, very important initiative,
Yes, sir.
because the precaution can save a life. It could save my life. It could save your life. It could save a loved one's life. It could save a kid's life. So precaution and education, it could save a biker's life. So those things are very, very important. And it's called the Pedestrian Safety Review Board, whose mission is to stop some of these deaths, fatalities.
Yes,
I
sir.
was trying to think of that word earlier, Greg. Somebody smart as you, they come up with, to stop some of these fatalities on our streets. So once again, tell individuals how they can get in touch with you. The
Yes,
website.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Our website is www.psrbmakinbib.us or either .com. You can you can visit that website to see when we meet, and we do have monthly meetings. Our monthly meetings are the third Tuesdays of each month at 10 o'clock a.m. located at City Hall. And those meetings are open to the public. But if you're wanting to address the commission, then you need to let us know. Address the committee, then you would need to let us know prior to the meeting that you would like to speak to the committee on behalf of a concern that you may have.
Okay, and then Rachel, if you don't mind, you can just kind of give a general overview of how citizens can participate in the process of trying to make this a safer community.
So you can either participate by reaching out to the board and asking the board to do a walk audit of your street. A really simple way to request a safer street is if you see something like the push button isn't working at the crosswalk or a light's out, you can submit C-Click Fix. So just go to C-Click Fix through Macon Bibb County and submit a quick request. That's the easiest way to get it straight to the department and address the challenge. And then Macon Bibb, the Pedestrian Safety Review Board, is doing so much right now to pass policy. They just recently hired a traffic safety manager, Weston Stroud. He started at the beginning of the year. He's in traffic engineering. And this is the first time we've had a whole full-time staff dedicated to multimodal challenges. So he's making sure we get some more policies and more procedures on how to make it very easy and quick and respondable if you have a challenge related to safety on your street. So we'll be releasing more about some things we're working on in the next few months. So yeah, just reach out, stay in touch. It's a big problem we have, but it's a very solvable problem. So we're doing the right steps and hopefully we'll continue to see those fatalities go down.
Well, I hope that everybody is heeding the info, because, we don't want any more statistics, particularly in that area. And it's real. I'm telling you, I'm very discouraged when I see, when I pick up some media and find out that another fatality, Greg, has happened because of the lack of the kind of attention to safety that all of us need. This is a call to action. I'm your host, Alex Habersham, having interviewed Ms. Rachel Umana, who not only volunteers on the Safety Review Board, but is also the executive director of Bike Walk Macon, which is an organization that's doing a phenomenal job in a lot of areas, particularly all the biking, but they have community events and things of that nature. So kudos to you, Rachel, and your organization for what you do in the community. And we are also interviewing Mr. Gregory Brown, sometimes known as Skeeter. You know, those of us who are his close friends call him Skeet Man.
Yes, sir.
And he is the chair of the board of the Pedestrian Safety Review Board for Macon. But we appreciate your service. We really do. And we are hopeful that the imparting of this information pricks the conscientiousness of everybody. You know, not just you, but, you know, your parents, your nieces, your nephews, your aunts, your uncles, your children, you know, everybody, you know, create the conscientiousness as it relates to we need to be safe. And though the statistics are going down, fatalities are going down, but I know they want a zero fatality.
Yes, sir. That's the
You
goal.
know, that's what their mission is, and that's what they are striving toward. This is a call to action. I'm your host, Alex Habersham. Be safe out there and have a great day.
www.makingblackpages.com. Think Black Pages first. You better think
Black Pages.
when purchasing goods like beauty supplies, cell phones, clothing, and food. Think Black Pages first for services like cleaning, event planning, and healthcare. Search, shop, support.
The Macon, Middle Georgia Black Pages.
Community for attorneys, auto, barbers, books, catering, churches, DJs, insurance, venues, and more.
Over 1,600 African-American businesses listed.
Serving Baldwin, Bibb, Crawford, Houston, Jones, Monroe, Peach, Twiggs,
Hey.
Wilkinson counties. When you spend money in your community, you are supporting the advancement of your community.
Our motto is
Have you hugged a black business today? Well, here's your chance with the new
the new
2022-2023 edition.
of the Macon, Middle Georgia Black Pages.
So think Black Pages first. Available in hard copy and
Digital.
get your copy today. Think Black Pages first.